Hi, I'm John Morellis, and welcome to my little tour of the Toolkit Lightroom preset kit. My goal in creating these presets is to help you cut down your production time and create effects and adjustments that you can't easily create on your own. To do that, I worked with the real engine of Lightroom. I combined tone curve adjustments, hue, saturation, and luminance controls, split tone adjustments, and other sophisticated controls of Lightroom with basic adjustment sliders like clarity and vibrance. And in doing this, I also avoided creating single slider presets from the basic adjustment menu. Having too many presets of things that you could easily do on your own can clutter everything up, making it harder to find the presets you do want. Sometimes less really is more. Now, the next thing I did is to create presets that fix real-world problems that you face as a professional photographer. So to show you what I'm talking about, let's start working on some images. First off, we've got an image here from an engagement shoot, and you can see it was shot in full sun, so we've got lots of contrast, we've got deep dark shadows, and we've got bright highlights. So the challenge here is to open up the shadows without losing our highlights, and for that I've got my full sun pop. And what it's designed to do is open up those shadows, and again retain all the detail in the background, add a little bit of contrast, add a little bit of snap without losing detail. Now if we want to have some fun, we can start over again and we can try my preset, that old can of film, which adds soft tones, a little bit of grain that looks like an old can of film, and we can finish that off with a sloppy border. Next up, we've got a pretty typical shot that you'll find in the course of a wedding, and we've got the bridesmaids getting ready here, and we've got this mixed lighting, we've got some tungsten lighting, we've got some ambient lighting, and skin tones really tend to get lost in this kind of lighting, so I've designed a special preset called my Getting Ready Black and White, which really works to bring out the detail in the skin tones and not let them all just turn to black or get blown out. And then for a shot like this, we can add a tone. We can add a cool tone, which adds a little blue tint. We can add a warm tone, which adds a slight sepia, or we can add both. We can do a split tone, which adds blue in the shadow areas and adds yellow tones in the highlight areas. Here's another shot that I think would work well in black and white. We've got the groom reading his vows, and for this we could try my toy camera black and white, which creates an effect very similar to a Holga or Diana plastic camera. But now in creating this effect, notice how we brought out some blemishes in the skin. So we can go ahead and take care of those pretty easily with my Skin So Smooth preset that kind of adds a little bit of softness to the image and is more flattering to our subject. Here we've got the bride walking down the aisle. We've got a lot of green and sky, and for this shot a lot of people like an effect similar to infrared film. And so we've got my infrared film preset, and one thing that I've done a little bit differently than many other infrared presets is I've really worked on the sky, so the sky is a really nice, rich, dark tone. Gets it to jump, very similar to what you'd find with infrared film. And here's another pretty typical shot. We've got the mom with her bride, and here we just want to add a little bit of punch, so we can add my subtle pop preset, which just kind of gets the colors to jump a little bit of contrast. But we have to be careful because in adding contrast, we maybe didn't help mom out so much with her skin, so we can add the Skin So Smooth light preset to kind of smooth everything out and again be a little bit more flattering to her. And then we can finish things off with a light vignette just to kind of darken the background and get them to pop. When you're shooting a ceremony, you really don't have a choice as to where it's being held or what the conditions are going to be, and so oftentimes you'll find very strong backlighting, and for this I underexpose, so I would get this detail in the background, but now we have some pretty severe underexposure of the subjects. So for that we can try my full sun pop again, or if that's not enough, we can also hit it with my Sunny Day Fill Flash, which opens up the shadow areas. And if we like, we can also try this as a black and white, and we can use my backlit black and white, which acts in the same way as my full sun pop. It opens up the shadows, opens up the skin tones, specially designed for skin tones, so that they still look good even in backlit lighting. And at the same time, we're not losing all our detail of the background. Another lighting scenario that you'll often face is overcast lighting. And for this shot, I underexposed the background so I wouldn't lose the detail, but now my subject is also underexposed, rather muddy and dark. So for this, we can use my overcast pop preset. For this, I've got two different levels. I've got low and I've got high. And what it does is it retains the detail in the background, opens up the detail in the skin tones, and while at the same time adding some warmth, because with cool overcast lighting, oftentimes the skin tones don't look very good. So if we don't like that, we can also play around with my lost preset, which again adds a little bit more mood and has a little bit more of a dreamy effect. This is one of my favorite presets. With this portrait shot taken of this 2-year-old, I really like the color in the dress and in her skin tones, but I want her to pop against all this green. So what we can do is we can use my spot color cool preset, which leaves us with the skin tones and the orange in the dress. And again, if we want to have some fun with this, we can add a sloppy border to it and just give it a little bit more of an antique-y effect. For this simple snapshot taken in Italy, it's pretty but not too spectacular. We can try my toy camera preset, and I have a toy camera preset for both color and black and white. Since we're in Italy, we'll stay there, and this shot was taken in Venice. It's a nighttime shot, and for this I want to convert it to black and white, make it very graphic. Now one of the real strengths of the Toolkit preset kit are the black and white conversions. I've got 10 different black and white conversions that are designed to work with a variety of scenes and subject matter. So for this shot, for architecture, I want something that's really high contrast, very high definition. So I'm going to use my more cowbell black and white. It really gets things to jump. And then I'm going to add a split tone. And then finally finish up with a heavy vignette. Since we're talking about black and white, I'll share with you another specific black and white conversion that I've created. It's my landscape black and white, and what it's designed to do is to work with the green tones and the blue tones in the sky to create the optimal level of contrast while still not losing detail in these shadow areas. If we go with my standard bitchin' black and white preset, which adds a lot of contrast, you can see we begin to lose detail in some of these shadow areas, and then the sky begins to blow out. Now, if we want to have some fun with this, we can try my very chill preset, which just adds a very soft sort of feel. It works great for high contrast lighting in the middle of the day. Just makes it a little bit more subtle. Let's finish up with something a little bit different. Here we've got two young kids, surfers, and for them we can try my hyperreal preset, which adds a lot of contrast, is very much like a look that's very popular in advertising and some wedding photography these days. And this is a great preset for working with seniors or working with sports. So that's it for my little guided tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you on down the line.